Northern India experienced the arrival of Islam and the establishment of Islamic states. The peoples there experienced for the first time a large-scale invasion of a people with a civilization that was as sophisticated as their own. Islam was a system that was very different than Hinduism. Indian religion is open, tolerant, and inclusive of various forms of religious devotion. Islam, however, was doctrinaire, evangelical, and committed to monotheism, excluding any other deity. Socially, Islam was more egalitarian, proclaiming that the faithful were equal in the sight of God. Hinduism validated the caste system. Now, Islam will reach India by several routes. One is military. Arab forces entered India as early as the 7th century. In 711, however, a well-organized expedition conquered Sind. It was prompted when pirates from Sind attacked ships of Arab traders. In response, the viceroy of the Eastern Umayyad Empire launched a punitive expedition. Led by an able general, 10,000 mounted warriors would eventually conquer the region, bringing it and the Indus Valley into the Umayyad Empire. This initial entrance of Islam into the Indian subcontinent brought little change. Local leaders surrendered because the conquerors promised less taxation and religious toleration. Despite having no connections to the Bible, the Arab overlords treated the Hindus and Buddhists as the protected people of the book, a status given to Christians and Jews. This meant that they were obliged to pay special taxes, but they could enjoy the freedom to worship. Most of the local officials were able to retain their positions, which went a long way in reconciling themselves to Muslim rule. For example, the rights and privileges of the Brahmins were respected. Finally, nearly all of the Arabs lived in cities or garrison towns. They expended little effort to convert the people of the conquered areas, so the locals were able to remain Hindu or Buddhists. Muslim merchants took their faith to the coastal regions of North and South India. Arab and Persian mariners visited Indian ports before Muhammad, and their Muslim descendants dominated trade and transportation networks between India and the western lands from the 7th through the 15th century. Muslim merchants formed small communities in all of the major cities along coastal India. They married local women, and in many cases found places for themselves in Indian society. Thus, Islam entered India's port cities in a more gradual, but no less effective way than was the case of Sind. Islam also entered India by a third route, the migrations and invasions of Turkish-speaking peoples from Central Asia. During the 10th century, Turkish groups became acquainted with Islam through their dealings with the Abbasid Caliphate, and some had converted. Some entered the Abbasid realm as mercenaries. Mahmud of Ghazni, the leader of the Turks in Afghanistan, turned his attention to the south. Between 1000 and 1027, he mounted raiding expeditions into India. He annexed several states into northwestern India and the Punjab. Mahmud had less interest in conquering than in plundering the wealth of its many temples. In 1025, he destroyed the temple of Gujarat, killing more than 50,000 people who tried to defend it. Mahmud's raids did not encourage the Indians to convert to Islam. His successors mounted a campaign to conquer northern India. By the 13th century, they conquered most of the Hindu kingdoms in northern India and established the Sultanate of Delhi. The sultans ruled northern India for more than 3 centuries, from 1206 to 1526. For the most part, the authority of the sultans did not extend far beyond Delhi. They conducted raids into southern India, but they could never overcome Hindu resistance. They had no permanent bureaucracy or administrative apparatuses. They did not enjoy comfortable control of their own court. Of the 35 sultans of Delhi, 19 perished at the hands of assassins.